Today, we will explain how elitism destabilizes a state, enabling the creation and fostering of drug and sex trafficking. Country of focus, Colombia. We are in a culture where before making a purchase, we ask a variety of questions about its origin and where it's sourced. Is it sustainable? Only after obtaining this vital information do we decide to open our wallets. After all, quality is key. Known for its natural riches and representation in pop culture, Colombia is a country that has had great success in obtaining reach far beyond its borders. As it happens, these admirable qualities are overshadowed by other well-known representations of that reach. Over time, Colombia's government has lost the capacity to control its sovereign territory, incapable of keeping it from the grasps of stateless adversaries. The Fragile State Index ranks Colombia with a score of 75.7 out of a possible 120. To put matters into perspective, Venezuela is currently ranked at 89.3. But what led to such fragility? Many can successfully argue that long-lasting classism has much to do with the crisis the nation faces today. The Colombian oligarchy has been the longest-lasting in history and the most successful in keeping exclusionism alive. The elite grip of Colombia has been deeply ingrained into the nation since the 1800s. Even today, with the nation being home to 7 million families, the same 40 families have remained in power over the past 200 years. Because this power remains with only a select few, more than one has fallen victim to becoming drunk on the fountain of influence. Reacting to these inequalities, the 1960s saw efforts to change the political system with the emergence of groups directly influenced by the Cold War. Marxist-Leninist-inspired forces promoting anti-imperialism, revolutionary left-wing armed groups, and other stateless adversaries, including crime syndicates and paramilitaries, were all formed around this time. In order to obtain funds to continue their cause, stateless adversaries make ends meet through illegal avenues. Drug and sex trafficking, the bread and butter of these groups, has run rampant. The elite's handling of the nation has made Colombia a beautiful tragedy. In addition to drug and sex trafficking, the refusal to relinquish power has resulted in daily assassinations, kidnappings, and the displacement of millions. Colombia is now considered to be one of the top drug and sex trafficking nations in the world. Recently, the increased fragility of their neighbor Venezuela has provided an additional increase in revenue for these rebel groups as they cross international borders in hopes of gaining more territory. According to Inside Crime, Venezuelan refugees are becoming increasingly vulnerable to these non-state actors. The number of reported incidents involving underage Venezuelan girls tripled in the last 5 years alone, and in a survey done by the Colombian Institute for Family Welfare in April 2018, 400 cases were reported that month alone, 159 of these involving victims under the age of 5. Sex tourism within the state is also a growing problem, even with the United States joining forces to combat the exploitation of these victims. Foreigners come to Colombia to participate in activities that are illegal in their home states. Some of these tourists have even remained to reap the revenues these illegal trades generate, and criminals rarely receive retribution. According to Inside Crime, the 2018 Global Impunity Index ranked Colombia among the worst nations for this behavior, alongside Mexico and Brazil. Further exacerbating the dilemma, many of today's ruling class are directly linked to these rebel groups. After all, everyone wants a piece of the revenue pie. Collaboration is common, further promoting the nation's decline. Explanations from those attempting to downplay the elite's responsibility in the matter usually come from elitists themselves, whose answers leave much to be desired. These dolphins, as the descendants of the elite are called because they're born into privilege and thus follow suit, may have a different opinion on the matter entirely. These dolphins argue that Colombia does not have elitism, for the oligarchy that they are compared to is not like any other place in the world. They insist it's really not the proper term to call it at all. The elite would rather consider themselves to be a form of nobility. According to World Bank's Gini Index, Colombia is ranked with the highest inequality in the region and 7th in the world. So what can be done about it? While we understand the oligarchy's involvement in the creation of a fragile state, when it comes to the illicit business being fostered, the factors are always a matter of demand and supply. The amount of people affected by these crimes are almost never known to those enjoying a weekend out with some friends. For once, we forget that little question we love to ask. What are the origins? Where is it sourced? Is it sustainable?